Smuggled contraband, hidden cameras, prison life like you've never seen. The first flash of light came as the heavy steel door slammed behind the newcomer. He froze for a moment, heart pounding, the echo of his own footsteps lost among the clanging metal. In a shadowed corner of the cell block, just beyond the flickering fluorescent tube, a slim eyeglass frame lay half hidden in the folds of two inmates' jumpsuits. That frame held a tiny lens, a lens recording everything. The moment was high tension. Guards whispered over the loudspeaker, something moving too quietly, something they shouldn't see. The camera caught the contraband transfer. A folded piece of paper passed between bunkmates in the middle of the night, the glint of a cell phone screen lighting up a face in darkness, a pocket knife wrapped in a torn sock. Then, the guard's boot hit the third rung of the ladder. The inmates froze. The camera stayed rolling. In the next second, the guard was right there, staring at the bunk, eyes narrowing. But the hidden camera didn't stop. It recorded the guard turning away without a word, stepping back into the corridor, oblivious to what he missed. Immediately after the guard left, the contraband moved. A lunchtime trade of pills hidden in a candy wrapper, cigarettes passed behind a lunch cart, the freight of secrets moving through a maze of barred windows and locked doors.
The lens caught it all. The fear, the barter, the hidden world behind those steel bars. And then, the camera cut to the moment someone else watched. A correctional officer, checking the cameras overhead, saw nothing unusual, but the hidden camera had. In that split second, the camera blinked out of view as a guard turned a flashlight on the bunk area. We see the flashlight's beam sweep past the hidden lens, the silent whisper of metal shuffling, the guard walking off. A buzzer sounded. Someone shouted. The footage ends with the camera being shoved into a false book cover, the eyeglasses tossed back into the bunk, and the inmate's voice, hushed, saying, "They don't know we filming, but they gonna find out real soon." And then, cut. Your screen goes black for a moment. The viewer is left thinking, what happens next? Will they get caught? Will the footage go public? Will someone pay with their life? It all started 6 months earlier inside Mississippi State Penitentiary, better known as Parchman Farm, one of the oldest and toughest prisons in America. The heat there was unforgiving, and the walls carried decades of screams, sweat, and silence. Inside those walls, survival was its own kind of business. But this time, it wasn't about fights or gangs, it was about contraband, the one thing that gave inmates power over the system.
The man behind it all was Marcus Slim Reynolds, a 32-year-old inmate serving 20 years for armed robbery. Slim wasn't the loud type. He was smart, quiet, and patient, the kind of inmate who could get a phone into solitary confinement and make you believe it appeared out of thin air. Everyone knew not to ask questions about Slim's connections. He had guards, kitchen staff, even laundry workers on his payroll. At first, Slim only smuggled small items, cigarettes, candy, prepaid phone cards. But when he realized how much prisoners would pay for things like phones, pills, and USB drives, the game changed completely. The most dangerous part wasn't the smuggling, it was the recording. Because Slim wanted proof of what went on inside, proof of the violence, proof of the deals, proof that guards were in on it. That's when he got the idea to use hidden cameras. A friend on the outside, a former tech repairman, slipped tiny camera lenses inside eyeglass frames, pens, and toothpaste tubes. They were small enough to avoid metal detectors, but powerful enough to record high-quality video for hours. Inmates hid the footage inside fake books or behind peeling wall paint. Every week, someone managed to sneak memory cards out during visitation hours, disguised as prayer cards or Bible pages. But something unexpected happened. Those recordings didn't just show contraband trades, they revealed the real life behind bars. Beatings that guards covered up, inmates bribing officers, and even one shocking scene of a warden taking cash from an inmate's cousin in the parking lot. Slim realized he had something bigger than smuggling. He had evidence that could shake the whole prison system. Late one night, As Slim sat on his bunk reviewing the latest footage on a smuggled phone, his cellmate whispered, "You sure you want to keep this? If they catch you, it's over." Slim looked up, his eyes cold and tired.
They already took my life, man. I'm just giving them back the truth. The next morning, rumors spread fast. Someone from inside was leaking videos online. Small clips appeared on social media. Grainy footage showing guards sleeping during shifts, fights breaking out, inmates laughing over confiscated phones. The video spread like wildfire, and soon reporters started asking questions. By week's end, the warden ordered random cell raids. Officers tore through bunks, flipped mattresses, and smashed lockers looking for hidden tech. Slim watched from his corner as two guards checked his cell. He kept calm, even as one of them reached for his Bible, the one hiding the last memory card. But just before the guard opened it, a voice shouted from down the hall, "We got something here!" The guards dropped everything and ran. Slim exhaled slowly, sweat dripping down his face. For now, he was safe. But the raid wasn't over, and he knew it was only a matter of time before someone started talking. Outside, the leaked videos had already reached the Department of Corrections, and now an investigation was underway. Agents were on their way to Parchman to trace where the footage came from. Inside, everyone was on edge. Guards suspicious, inmates terrified. And somewhere in that chaos, a single flash drive was still hidden, waiting to be found. But before that could happen, one of Slim's trusted men went missing. No transfer, no call, just gone. And that's where everything began to unravel. The morning started with silence, the kind of silence that didn't feel normal. No shouting, no banging, just the faint hum of the ceiling fan cutting through the heavy air. Slim woke up and immediately noticed something wrong. The bunk across from his was empty. His right-hand man, DeAndre Little D. Collins, was gone. His blanket folded, his shoes missing. But no one had seen a transfer and no name had been called at roll call.
Slim's stomach tightened. Little D was the only one who knew where the final memory card was hidden, the one that held footage of the warden himself taking bribes from a local contractor. If Little D was gone, the secret was no longer safe. By noon, word spread through the block. A new unit search was coming. Officers in riot gear were moving cell to cell, dragging inmates out, tearing apart everything they owned. Slim knew they were looking for that camera footage. He could see it in the officers' faces, the panic, the pressure from above. Down the hall, a heavy voice shouted, "Nobody moves till we find the source." Guards stormed in, kicking open lockers, ripping out wall panels. Then one officer stopped the Slim cell. His name tag read Rogers, one of the few guards who had always been too friendly. Rogers leaned close and whispered, "They know about the videos. Someone's talking. You didn't hear it from me." Slim's jaw clenched. "Where's D?" he asked under his breath. Rogers shook his head. "You didn't hear that from me either." Then he turned away, yelling for backup, pretending the conversation never happened. Hours later, Slim sat in the dark, staring at his Bible, the same one hiding the memory card. He knew if he stayed quiet, he might survive the search. But if that footage vanished, everything he'd risked would be for nothing. He had to get it out, now. That night, he slipped the tiny card into a hollow piece of soap, pressed it shut, and handed it to an older inmate heading to the infirmary. He whispered, "Get this to the chaplain." The man nodded and shuffled off. But Slim didn't know that by then, federal investigators were already inside the prison, setting up their own hidden cameras, real ones this time, to trace the leak. They were watching from an unmarked van outside the fence, every movement recorded. Hours later, the soap never reached the chaplain. It was intercepted during a random search. Inside it, agents found the card and the truth.
Within days, the footage went public. News outlets ran headlines like "Hidden Cameras Expose Corruption Inside Mississippi's Toughest Prison." The videos showed guards taking cash, drugs being smuggled in lunch trays, and one shocking moment where a handcuffed inmate was beaten off camera while officers laughed. The country watched in disbelief. The state promised reforms. The warden resigned for health reasons. Several officers were arrested. But inside Parchman, there was no celebration, only fear, because the inmates knew what came next. On the third night after the raid, Slim's cell door opened quietly. No alarms, no lights. 2 guards stepped in, faces hidden under black masks. Slim looked up and whispered, "So this is how it ends, huh?" They didn't answer. One of them raised a taser. The last thing Slim heard was the buzz before everything went dark. By morning, the report said he suffered a seizure in his sleep, but everyone inside knew better. The man who exposed the truth was gone, and with him, the only first-hand witness to one of America's biggest prison scandals. Weeks later, a short video clip surfaced online, blurry, shaky, but real. It showed Slim speaking directly into the camera. "If you seeing this, just know, the truth don't die. It just waits for somebody brave enough to show it again." The screen faded to black, and for a few seconds, only the sound of heavy prison doors echoed in the background. What really happened to Marcus "Slim" Reynolds may never be proven, but his hidden footage changed how America looked at prison corruption forever. Behind every wall, there's a story. Some get silenced, others find a way out. If you believe his truth deserves to be heard, make sure to share this story, because sometimes exposing the darkness is the only way to find justice.